Maybe you've seen people going about their day wearing two masks. A leading expert on infectious diseases says it makes sense. NTD's Miguel Moreno has more on the phenomenon and updates on the virus.
Some people are doubling up on face wear. Leading expert on infectious diseases, Dr. Fauci, told today that wearing two masks is likely to be more effective protection against the virus.
So if you have a physical covering with one layer, you put another layer on, it just makes common sense that it likely would be more effective.
But the CDC hasn't made this recommendation. Now we want to show you a picture. A fellow reporter took this one on his way to work. A woman with two face masks and a rosary on the far left, and the other two wearing a combination of face masks and face shields. It's clear that some people are putting a lot of hope on PPE.
Twitter is getting sued by a child victim of sexual abuse and exploitation. The minor claims the social media platform knew about the exploited content a year ago, but didn't remove it. NTD's Eileen Eng has more on the story.
Last week, a minor, John Doe, and his mother filed a lawsuit against Twitter, alleging that the social networking giant knowingly distributed his abuse videos and refused to remove them. The circulated videos showed graphic images of his sex abuse when he was 13 years old, created by sex traffickers. At 16 years old, he and his mother found out about the videos and contacted authorities and Twitter. According to Twitter's policies, their system should be able to detect and stop illegal material like child sex abuse. His mother, Jane Doe, sent an email to Twitter on January 26, 2020, demanding the videos be taken down immediately. However, 2 days later, Twitter replied saying that, "We've reviewed the content and didn't find a violation in our policies, so no action will be taken at this time." According to Twitter's child sexual exploitation policy in 2019, those who violate their policy will have their accounts removed and reported to the National Center for Missing and Exploited Children. Videos of John Doe received over 160,000 views and 2,000 retweets, according to the lawsuit. The lawsuit also alleges that Twitter selectively removes or prevents certain content on its platform based on information and belief, and that his videos were monetized through distribution. John Doe is seeking damages under the Federal Trafficking Victims Protection Reauthorization Act. Eileen Eng, NTD News, California.
Laid-off workers are speaking out after President Biden canceled the permit for the Keystone XL Pipeline on his first day in office. NTD's Grace Coulter has the story.
A number of workers are speaking out about the job losses caused by the Biden administration canceling the Keystone XL Pipeline. On Monday, this video of an unnamed general manager on the pipeline went viral online. He told reporters that hundreds of his coworkers had already been laid off in Wisconsin.
Right now, the numbers of jobs are thousands of jobs. There's Michaels, there's Precision Pipeline that would have affected that the pipeline was going to be constructed. The actions that were happened recently, we were doing station work. There's hundreds of guys that got laid off. Was that Tuesday?
And Neil Crabtree, a welding foreman and union member, wrote on Facebook last week that he's used to getting laid off once a project is completed. But he said this time it's different because they're getting laid off for political reasons. Crabtree said that at the end of every job, he shakes the workers' hands before they're laid off. He said they laugh and smile and are proud of a job well done. But today, he said, it wasn't like that. He said he went to his truck and cried. The Leuna Union also took to social media to decry Biden's decision. The union wrote on Twitter, "Pipeline construction has been a lifeline for many Leuna members across the country. The anticipated decision to cancel the Keystone Pipeline will kill thousands of good-paying union jobs." And another group that has expressed their disappointment with the cancellation is the Ute Indian tribe. The indigenous tribe sent a letter to the Biden administration saying, "Your order is a direct attack on our economy, sovereignty, and our right to self-determination." And they're requesting the order to be withdrawn or amended. 5 indigenous tribes invested a combined total of nearly $765 million in the pipeline. Biden's order is expected to result in the loss of up to 11,000 U.S. jobs. Incoming Transportation Secretary Pete Buttigieg has argued these will be alleviated by jobs created in the green sector. Reporting by Grace Coulter, NTD News.
President Biden's 3 newest executive orders address climate change. He's creating a new central office in the White House to implement his climate agenda. NTD's Melina Wisecup speaks to an environmental policy expert on what these orders mean for America.
It's a whole-of-government approach put climate change at the center of our domestic, national security, and foreign policy.
Biden's word choice makes it clear that foreign policy reforms will need to happen in order to reach the goal of lessening America's dependence on oil and gas, replacing them with wind turbines and solar panels. To do this, America would likely need to forfeit our self-sufficient energy production.
We need to import the materials and also, to a large degree, the equipment itself from China and from other nations.
That's why Taylor says Biden's labeling climate change as a national security threat actually leads to Biden's policy itself becoming a national security threat.
So what we're doing is we're enriching our geopolitical foes, our potential adversaries, and at the same time we're impoverishing ourselves. That for reasons both in terms of the potential for blackmail, but also in terms of inhibiting our economy. Those are reasons that make America's national security substantially compromised when we follow the Biden climate plan.
This series of executive orders is meant to put America on track to meet Biden's ambitious goal to have a 100% clean energy economy and net zero emissions by 2050. However, some studies show America has already reduced its emissions more than any other country in the world during this century.
Something else Biden is trying to accomplish with these new executive orders is to reach his 2030 goal to conserve 30% of our lands and oceans. This in addition to setting aside the land he would need to use for wind turbines. Now, this is just the start of the Biden administration's efforts to roll back Trump's policies, so we'll have to see how the administration plans to work out some of these specifics as they move forward with these new climate change policies. Melina, Wisecup, NTD News.
And Mike Pompeo has joined the Hudson Institute, a conservative think tank in Washington, D.C. Some see the move as preparation for a potential 2024 presidential run. And in China, certain companies have names similar but not identical to communist Chinese military companies. Under Biden, the US Treasury Department is temporarily allowing American investment into those companies. NTD's Kevin Hogan breaks this down for us.
Let's go.
Under the Trump administration, the U.S. banned investment in Chinese military companies. Trump set a deadline for Thursday to stop investment in companies that have similar names. But now Biden's administration has extended that deadline to late May. Geopolitical expert Brandon Weichert explains some of the potential dangers with delaying the ban.
If the Chinese are doing bad things and they're hiding it behind these kind of pseudonym companies, we're going to be purchasing it for another 6 months, another 5 months. So those products, if they're compromised, we'll be integrating compromised potentially products into our defense supply chain.
Zooming out a bit, we examine why the ban on communist Chinese military companies is important to Americans and the U.S. military to begin with. Weichert says there's a balance between not overspending tax dollars and being willing to buy from China, who he says doesn't play fair.
And what it really means is that the equipment and material that our fighting men and women rely on a daily basis could very well be compromised. It could be designed to fail. It could be designed to be hacked at a moment's notice that could disrupt the normal readiness of a American military unit.
The order listed on the Treasury Department's website also prohibits securities transactions with banned Chinese military companies. In November, former President Trump continued with his hardline approach to Beijing by banning the investment in these companies. Weichert offers his projection on Biden's approach to China.
You can expect not just complete abandonment of Trump policies such as the ban that he enacted before he left, but also I think you are going to see a degree of stabilization in the Sino-American relationship because the Biden team really wants to focus on Russia. It's the low-hanging fruit, and they really want to get more involved, I think, wrongly in Syria. And so I think those two things are going to negate the ability for the United States to really go too hard against China the way that Trump did.
Biden's approach to China has yet to become completely clear. Weichert said Biden's cabinet picks are more aggressive in terms of their China policy, all while U.S. naval forces rival China's military in the contested South China Sea after Biden's inauguration. Kevin Hogan, NTD News.
Hundreds of Chinese drones lose control during a test run, and we explain why NTD uses the term CCP virus. NTD's Tiffany Meyer has the details.
Now we turn to the term CCP virus. In our program, we have been using this term for about 1 year to refer to the coronavirus. In the early days, we explained why we chose this term, but to some viewers who recently started watching our program, they are asking why. CCP virus is short for Chinese Communist Party virus. The name is to hold the Chinese Communist Party, or CCP, accountable. Because of its cover-up and mishandling of the outbreak in Wuhan, allowed the virus to become a global pandemic. It infected millions of people around the globe, including President Trump. Inside China, communist officials knew about the virus at least in early December, but hid the information for weeks. Not only that, they also punished doctors who tried to warn others, including Li Wenliang. Li later died from the virus. The CCP also arrested citizen journalists for covering the outbreak and shut down the Shanghai lab that published the world's first genome sequence of the virus. The genome sequence is crucial for developing testing kits for the virus, and it's not just about the cover-up. The CCP later tried to shift the blame, claiming that the virus originated from the United States and Italy. Calling the virus the CCP virus reminds people of its true origin. It also makes a clear distinction between the Chinese Communist regime and the Chinese people, who are also victims of the regime's cover-up. Now we look to Chinese drones. Hundreds of drones appear to have lost control during a performance in China. Chinese netizens say the incident once again demonstrates the quality of made-in-China products. On Monday evening, in the southwestern Chinese city of Chongqing, a large drone performance test was held. But during the performance, hundreds of drones seem to have lost control and crashed into nearby buildings, falling onto the ground and into the river. In the video, someone said the computer program was written wrong. According to local media, the drones lost control because the operating system suddenly stopped working. Hi, we're happy to announce that you can also catch us on cable TV now. Millions of households already choose us as one of their trusted news sources, and you can too. You can watch us in Chicago, Washington, D.C., New York, and many other cities as well. And if your system doesn't carry NTD yet, you can just give them a quick call and request NTD on your cable provider. Thank you for watching. See you next time.